Good evening, everyone. Sorry about the technical delays there. And welcome everyone to the Planning Commission of the City of Moreno Valley. I now call this meeting to order November 9th, 2023 at 6:03 p.m. May we have a roll call?
Commissioner Gonzalez. Commissioner Terrell.
Here.
Commissioner Baker.
Here.
Commissioner Zeitz.
Here.
Commissioner Stefan.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Cobian.
Here.
Chairperson Dejanay.
Here. All right, Commissioner Gonzalez will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're now going to move to the approval of the agenda. Do I have a second, a first and a second there?
I have a second.
We have a first and a second. All right, the motion carries. All right, we're gonna get ready to move into the public comments procedure, but before we do that, this evening, I ask and encourage everyone participating to keep their comments respectful toward others, especially towards individuals speaking. I embrace and support the First Amendment right to speech, including everyone's right to speak at this meeting, and share his or her views about issues concerning our city. But we can accomplish that more as a city and as private citizens by being civil and respectful to others at this meeting. During the public comment period for each item, as well as during the public comment period for items not on the agenda, each member of the public who has signed up to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. Any person wishing to address the commission on matters either under the public comment section of the agenda or scheduled items or public hearings must fill out a request to speak form available at the door. The completed form must be submitted to the secretary prior to the agenda item being called by the chairperson. In speaking to the commission, members of the public may be limited to 3 minutes per person, except for the applicant for entitlement. The commission may establish an overall time limit for comments on particular agenda items. Members of the public must direct their questions to the chairperson of the commission and not to other members of the commission, the applicant, the staff, or the audience. With that said, the next item is public comments, not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers?
We have 2 speakers. The first speaker is Fred Benuelos, followed by Jacob Jenks.
Hello, everybody. Well, high season opened up, the dispensary.
That if there are issues, we will patrol the entire parking lot. Our whole goal is to help that center. If homelessness is a problem in that center, our goal is to take care of that. I will not have sign twirlers. We will not have, I don't know, we call them the breadboard signs out strictly. Sign on the facade is all I allow for my operations.
All right, so that was Gregory Piva, the Chief Compliance Officer. When he spoke here, he didn't tell the truth. He promised to the residents that he would help out with the homeless situation. They're using breadboards to promote their business. And now that might not be an issue to remove their conditional use permit. But I spoke to 4 security guards. They told me that they don't patrol the whole area. All they do is patrol their area. I've called the sheriff's departments within the about 3 times for people still loitering there. 2 days ago, we had a homeless person that was sleeping 2 doors down at the dental place, and I called the sheriff's department, but the security was posted up right in front, and they didn't do anything. They saw this gentleman sleeping there, and I'm just very upset that they promised the residents that they would do something. So I'm hoping that you can persuade them to get their community liaison to work with us, give their phone numbers out to maybe all the people that work there, to allow us to call them when there's a situation there with homeless. That way we don't have to call the sheriff's department on a non-emergency number, so they can take care of the problem that they promised that they would take care of. So I'm just here to give you an update of what's going on. I told you that I'd be watching them, and we'll see what happens next. It's just they promised the residents something when they spoke here about 1.5 years ago, and I'm seeing it right now that he's not living up to that promise. So if you can reach out to them, somebody here, Mr. Gregory Piva, the Chief Compliance Officer, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other speakers?
Our next speaker is Mr. Jacob Jennings.
Hi, pleasure speaking with all of you today. I'm actually here to address more of the disparity on health and nutrition among the children here in this city. So I'd realized that there was actually a variety of different properties in the area, specifically over near Iris and Oliver, which have been vacant since I was actually a child. I'm now 27 years old. I had a suggestion to make. I was suggesting that, you know, as far as addressing the health issues or just the general epidemic in nutrition here in the city, I was thinking that we could implement a program that is centered around a community garden for the residents here in the local environment. Now, what a community garden is basically it's a public project that is operated by the locals, and it works to give fresh produce to all the children who are attending the schools in the area. So a similar thing has already been done in Rio de Janeiro. They have actually one of the largest acreages in the world that is reserved for the purpose of being a community garden. So with this community garden, I think it spans about maybe 10 soccer fields is what they've described. It's able to produce, I believe, it produced 40 tons of produce, I believe, just last year. So with the 40 tons of produce, they've been able to feed about maybe 100,000 families around the Rio de Janeiro favelas. So it's pretty remarkable just to see how much can be done by the local community. Now, of course, something on that scale is a bit insurmountable, but here I realize that we do have some properties that have been vacant. I was thinking that a great way to tackle the health issues in the city would be to take a lot of the community's work and the effort towards, you know, farming as much of the vegetables and fruit as we can and giving it to the local elementary schools and the middle schools so that they can make use of this fresh produce for their children. Now, I'm not sure if everyone is aware of how large this epidemic really is. You know, as far as children's nutrition, junk food makes up about maybe 70 to 90% of children's nutrition. And that's just, it's terrible. It's a terrible and it's a frightening number. Now, for the fresh produce, of course, that's not going to counteract all of, I guess, the fallacies and the children's nutrition epidemic. But of course, it is a good backbone to try to combat some of these health issues. So that was my suggestion. You know, of course, if I had more time, I would elaborate more. But thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All Are there any other speakers?
No other speakers.
Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and non-controversial and may be enacted by a motion unless a member of the commission requests that an item be removed for separate action. Items withdrawn for the report or discussion will be heard after the public hearing items. Questions or comments from the public on the consent calendar matters are limited to 3 minutes per individual and must pertain to the subject under consideration. And so I ask at this time, would any commissioner like to pull an item from the consent calendar for a separate vote or comment? Okay. No. Do we have any public comments for items on the consent calendar?
No public comment.
All right. Do we have a motion and second for the consent calendar?
A motion to accept the consent calendar?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All right, the motion does carry. The next item on the agenda is non-public hearing items. At this time, we have no items. So therefore, the next item on the agenda is the consideration of public hearing items. We have number 1, the applicant is requesting approval of a master plot plan and conditional use permit for a 1.31 acre energy center comprised of an 8-island fueling station, 6 vehicle charging stations, a convenience store, and a drive-through car wash. Do we have a staff report?
The presentation this evening will be made by contract planner Oliver Mujica.
Good evening, Commissioners. As mentioned, the project before you is located on the northwest corner of Oliver and Iris Avenue. The proposal, as it indicated, was for the proposed Beyond Food Mart project, and the proposal is, again, as indicated by the introduction, it has a fueling station, also has vehicle charging stations, it also has a drive-through car wash and the Beyond Food Mart project. This is the site plan identifying the project. So you can see Iris is on the lower portion of the slide, and Oliver Street is to the right. The proposal is for the Beyond Food Mart, which contains approximately 7,400 square feet. So the project was reviewed internally by staff. It does meet all of the requirements of the municipal code and regulations, and it's gone before you. That's before you now. There was also an initial study, mitigated negative declaration, that was prepared for the project, and appropriate conditions of approval and mitigation measures have been incorporated for the project. I will show you some elevations. So this is the kind of the Beyond Mart convenience store. This is the island for the service fueling pumps, the car wash. And our recommendation is that the Commission consider the adoption of a resolution approving the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring program, and also a resolution approving the master plot plan and conditional use permit for the project. I'm available to answer any questions. Also before you, in front of you, we left a package of the series of public comments that were received during the public review period. The applicant is here, Michael Ramirez, to answer any questions that you may have as it relates to the operation of the project. That concludes my presentation. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any commissioner questions for staff?
There was something that had come up on one of the pages I was looking at, and it says that there was a technical evaluation of project demands, existing system capacities. Have those things been addressed? Could it identify impacts of existing facilities in the area? Identify additional on-site, off-city facilities? And there was just like a few things in potential water district overusage. So has those things been addressed?
So to answer your question, yes, they have been. The item, document that you're referring to is a mitigated negative declaration. There's a series of measures that are addressed. Public services and facilities is one of those. So we provide responses from the EMWD, the water
Right.
district. We also obtain data from the police department, county fire, and so parks as well. So what kind of demands will this project make on all those facilities? And that's analyzed, and it was concluded that there will not be any impacts to those.
Okay, because when I was reading it, didn't say if it had been addressed or not, so I just thought I'd ask if it had been already addressed. Okay.
I have a question. The entire lot behind the proposed gas station, is that owned by the same owner?
No,
is that
it
the
is not.
same developer? Same? No.
No, it's not.
How many parcels are on that?
It's
Is that
just-
4 different parcels? There, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm just.
So the subject site is just one parcel that's in blue, and I'm not sure how many is,
I can't go into, I don't have
Okay.
the specific detail relative to how many parcels are located there to both the east as well as to the north. I would say that they are all part of they are all part of a future development application that was actually just recently submitted to the city, which will come before this body at a future date.
And the zoning for this?
The entire zoning for the area is downtown center.
I have a question. My understanding that there will not be any alcohol sales at this convenience store. Is that correct?
that is correct.
Now, if the applicant wishes to have alcohol sales in the future, will they have to come back to this body for approval, or how is that related to an ABC permit, or how is that related?
Yes, they would require a conditional use permit for that.
They would have to come back again. They can go directly to an ABC.
We'll have to verify what the process would be, and ultimately whatever, and we can confirm that and get back to you in just a moment.
What?
I want to double check based off of the square footage. We do have some limits. We want to just verify real quick whether or not this is over that or not. So just one moment.
I have a question on special conditions. It says 17, says the owner representative shall establish and maintain a relationship with the city of Moreno Valley and cooperate with the problem-oriented policing program or its successors. Now, my question is, what kind of a relationship? As far as the owner of the proposed project and our police department, what kind of a relationship?
I can help. I can address that one. So one of the things that we work with most property owners to do is to establish giving us a right to entry permit. That is ultimately granted to the city's police department, which ultimately makes it easier for them to gain access onto a property by them submitting that documentation. It can be utilized, by them for those purposes. So that's traditionally the major step that they take. There are other opportunities that they can coordinate through the sheriff's department on, related to problem-oriented policing as well. I don't have a full list of those in detail, but I would say that the ability to grant them access to the property without them having to get a warrant or anything along those lines is definitely a very key one, and it is something that we encourage all of our businesses in town to do, and a large majority of them do have them.
And a follow-up, if I may ask my colleagues. The follow-up will be, if so, will the if the owner, I guess maybe it'd be for the manager, the project person.
One more time?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I want to confirm the permit name.
Okay. The brand. Well, what I'm saying is, so if they request to have, because they have the pop team, so they could request them at any time to come over and in that area. Is that something? To patrol the area.
Well, they would make a call for service in the same manner that any other entity would have. By having this 602 permit, it ultimately gives them right to enter the property without having to, because they already have ownership's consent if there is a concern.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if I may add to that, condition number 13 on special conditions, part of the project description also we included, and the applicant has proposed it as part of his project, and part of it in the statement says a state-of-the-art security alarm system will be installed in surveillance cameras, and that is going to work in collaboration with the police department as well.
May I ask another question, follow-up, Chairman? Sir, another question is, so will they have security? I read it said employees walking. Does it mean, will they have a security guard there?
We will refer that question to the applicant to address after their presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
My question may be for the applicant. I noticed in one of the notations from one of the letters that they felt that they were not notified correctly. And I was just wondering if they can explain what they did, that way it'll be on record how they notified people of this project.
So the notification requirements are actually a city requirement. Our municipal code holds that we do notification at a 600-foot radius, as well as we have requirements for posting the agenda, posting it in the newspaper, as well as signs on the site. The letter you're identifying is identifying a desire for the applicant to have gone above and beyond the city's mandatory requirements, but ultimately, to make sure that public noticing is done correctly, we take care of it.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
Any other commissioner questions for staff?
So to address the question very quickly, being that this would ultimately be considered a market, the request for alcohol sales would ultimately be considered at a future date by the Community Development Department. It would not come back to this commission.
So if I guess this is more for the applicant, is the intent no alcohol sales or alcohol sales like at a later date?
So something you may want to consider to bring it back to you in the future is adding a condition of approval that prohibits alcohol sales. That way they would have to come back to you to get an amended condition of approval in order to remove that provision. I would hold to deliberation before discussing that.
Are there any other commissioner questions for staff?
I have one more.
Okay.
Is this the proper time to say that I went out and took pictures and stuff? Just to make a disclaimer
Yes,
that I did.
you can, at this time, that would be perfectly fine for you to make a disclaimer of you're visiting the site. Yes.
Okay, I want to let the public know that I did visit the site. I took pictures and videos because I'm a visual person, so I like to see what I'm looking at. And also, I talked to 2 residents, and when I was out there, one of the residents worked where I work at, and I went to his house and I talked to his wife, and just wanted to hear what they had to say. And then as I was walking back to my car, I ran into another resident, and just let them know we had who I was, and let them know there's a public hearing today. Today. And I just wanted to put that out, a disclaimer. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other commissioner questions for staff?
I'm sorry, one more. When I was at work, I ran into one of the representatives, Mark Tosk, at work. I work at law. I run into a lot of people. We met him on my lunch period. Didn't have lunch. We just stood and talked. I just wanted to make that public.
Okay. Any other commissioner questions for staff? Okay, all right. At this time, would the applicant like to speak?
Good evening, commissioners, and thank you for your service to your community. My name is Michael Ramirez. I'm here on behalf of Beyond Food Mart. We're a new concept grocery fuel center. We don't just provide gas, we also do hydrogen and electric charging vehicles. We're not new to the community. We're actually been a member of your Moreno Valley community for at least 4 years. We operate the facility over on Day and Eucalyptus. That's a 76 station, which would be the same branding at this location. I understand that this site has a little bit of history with the community, with this board, but at the end of the day, this new project that's coming in is day and night compared to what was brought to you before. Beyond Food has a number of other locations. We currently operate locations in Temecula, 3 in Rialto, 1 in Corona at the Dos Lagos commercial project. We have 1 coming up in Wildemar that will be starting construction soon, 2 in Menifee, 1 in Murrieta on Hot Springs Road at Jackson, 1 in Eastvale, and 4 of them in Paris. So we're part of the community of Riverside County. We're part of the community of Moreno Valley. There's a number of questions that have come up, and we want to have an opportunity to provide the information that's being requested. And I'd like to reserve those rebuttals or questions, if you will, until maybe after the public may have had a chance to ask the same questions, and that way we can provide the information at one time, if that's okay with the commission.
Yes, you'll have an opportunity to speak again.
If you want me to answer anything for the commission now, I will, but I think we may be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone if we allow the public to speak as well.
Well, that's actually my next question. Are there any commissioner questions for the applicant?
No, and not at this time.
Any commissioner questions for the applicant?
Not this time.
Thank you.
Well, wait, I have a question.
I'm sorry.
Have you been in contact with the school that is nearby?
We reached out to them, but I believe that we caught them during the Halloween kind of function that they were trying to, they were in the middle of their Halloween preparation, so we didn't get a call back.
Okay,
But there's
good.
2 schools down there. There's a middle school and an elementary school to the north that we're familiar with. And that lends itself to the fact that the ABC license being taken off the table. And that's one of the reasons we're not going after that this time.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. And is there any plans to actually try to seek the alcohol license in the future?
No, not at this time. So I think that condition that was discussed or identified makes sense to us.
Okay. Any other commissioner questions? Sorry.
Did you seek any support from the Kaiser Hospital, or the Moreno Valley Dialysis Center?
We had one of our consultants reach out to them, but we did not get any responses back. So at this point in time, we don't have anything in writing with their support.
Thank you, sir.
Any other commissioner questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir. Appreciate
No.
it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we will now open the public testimony. The clerk will call upon each person who has requested to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on a public hearing item. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, Commissioner, we have 7 speakers. The first speaker is Chris Lindholm, followed by Henry.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Chris Lindholm. I represent Inland Land Group, LLC, the owner of the approximately 15 and a half currently undeveloped acres surrounding the project. We have recently submitted an application for our proposed mixed-use development under the application PAP 23-0705, which we are calling Cresta Bella. Now, our proposed site design uses a shared access driveway off Iris Avenue that would be utilized by both our project and the Beyond project. That shared access driveway is critical for the viability of our project. Our original intent in coming to speak today was that you'll notice that the submitted site plan does not utilize a shared access driveway. Once we reviewed the public documents, we had a meeting, well, several emails and a meeting with Transportation Department where we discussed the viability of having a shared access drive. We shared the results of that meeting via email with the rest of city staff and with the applicant. We had a meeting with them just before this commission meeting, and it is our understanding that there will be a revision to the draft conditions of approval that incorporate a shared access driveway with a reciprocal access agreement for that access driveway. Originally, we would have requested a postponement of the voting by the commission until we got that draft condition incorporated into the conditions of approval. But it is our understanding currently that it is already incorporated into the draft conditions that you have been presented with. If for some reason it's not, then we would, well, first of all, we would like verification that that is in place. And if it is not, then we would request a postponement of the voting. But based on what we've been told, it's in there. Just very briefly, since I've got about a minute left, I wanted to share our site plan so you can see why it is critical for our project. This is a rendering of our proposed project. We're trying to do a nice, true mixed-use project. And this shows our site plan with the subject property here, and then the drive access here, which would be, from what we understand, shifted over.
We would encourage you not to do so, given that you do have an entitlement application with us currently for the project.
Okay.
And it's not the project that we are speaking of tonight, so apologize.
Understood. It's just the site plan.
Thank you, sir, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Henry, followed by Florence Whitty.
Good evening. My name is Henry Fricker, F-R-I-C-K-E-R. I'm a resident in the area, and my concerns are several. One is the increased traffic. Oliver and Iris has seen its deadly accidents in the past, more than once. And even since there's traffic lights up, there has been one, at least to my knowledge. I am definitely concerned about that. I'm concerned because we have students that cross Iris all the time, coming from Landmark and from La Jolla. So that increased traffic poses a big safety issue in my head. I'm also concerned about the alcohol and the one person said that this could change, you could change this to make sure that they have to come back to you, not just to ABC, for permission to sell alcohol in the future. It's too close to a middle school for me. Along with the traffic, you have the noise, you have the lights, and he refers to other projects by this company, Beyond Food. I'd like to know how many of those are situated right next to residents. A lot of residents. The one he mentioned, I don't recall a lot of residents by day in Eucalyptus. So here you're impacting a different clientele with your project than you are in a business area. And that is a concern of mine. I think in existing car washes, you have Quick Quack going in just approximately 2.1 miles away. You have a car wash already in the existing at the Chevron station. I think it's Chevron, Standard Station. And I believe there's another one planned to go in across the street from that. I think we have existing car washes coming out our ears. And water. No matter what you say about water, it's limited. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Florence Whitty, followed by Emil Dragovich, Jr.
Good evening. My name is Florence Mwiti. I'm here to say about the gas station coming up. To me, I'm an owner of a house in Moreno Valley for the last 20 years. I'm just across the street there. And to me, the way my colleague said, there will be a lot of noise in the area concerning, it might connect or affect the children walking about from school. Then there will be increased traffic, the way he has said. When you think of a gas station, there are so many kids who just walk about in traffic, don't know those things in that area. Then there's this concern of homeless people. When you just bring a gas station there, we expect homeless every time because most of them, they just go to buy something in a gas station. It will be there 24 hours. So it will be a risky to that area. And then there's a quality of life in that area. People in that area, mostly, they are so quiet in that area. They are not concerned with their cars because they just go ahead in a mile away. And now when it comes there, it will affect even the quality of life they are living right now in that area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Emil Dragovich, Jr., followed by Bob Palomares.
Good evening. My name is Emil Dragovich, Jr. I've been a resident of Moreno Valley for nearly 40 years. I'm in my second home, and I live across the street from the proposed gas station. I welcome it. We have waited for, it seems like a century, for have conveniences. You have to travel a mile or 2 miles or more to get gasoline. There's no stores other than Easter Market when I first moved there in '95. But I want to talk about this. This was sent to me with no name on the envelope, and there's no name anywhere here, but it says the noise issue. I live at least 1,500 feet away, and I hear every ambulance, fire engine, and police car, every Harley Davidson motorcycle. I hear that too, and the hot rods. And there's no added noise from people going to a gas station than the amount of traffic, which I estimate and guesstimate 80% of the cars traveling are skirting from Moreno Beach Drive from the freeway to bypass the interchange to hit LaSalle to make a left-hand turn. Because if you live here like I have for 20 years at that location, you'll see, and it's easy to figure it out, that it's an escape route. And that's the excessive traffic that's increasing. Local residents, I get my gas at Santam's. I've been since I lived here. But I'm offering an opportunity for you guys to approve the project to allow for people that don't have a Sam's card, that they can get local gas cheaper. I may go get a gallon of gas for my mom more, but the point is, it's a matter of convenience too. Homeless concerns, that's yet to be seen. Maybe not, but it's speculation by comments being made. Basically, that's it. I'm in favor of having I don't drink alcohol, and I like the fact that they're not going to sell alcohol. I have more than just gasoline for sale for powering vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Bob Palomares, followed by Nacy Antoine.
Good evening, commissioners. I think this is a pretty good project. You know, I share the concerns of the people that are here that live in that area, but I'm wondering if they're aware of the Nason corridor, all the development that's going to come in. You know, this is kind of like a start of what's going to come in. I mean, that's going to, all that vacant land surrounding that area is going to be developed. I mean, but, you know, I know they like the quietness and, you know, the way it is, but little by little, it's going to go. And, you know, the gentleman was saying that they're going to sell alcohol, which is good. You know, the way they build these station and convenience stores now, you know, they're top of the line. There's very little concern. You know, homeless, I don't know. They all seem to stay on Sunnymead pretty much. But I think it's a good project, and like I say, when it starts to get developed all around there, they're gonna look back and say, man, and we were concerned about that. Look at what they're putting up now. Because there's gonna be, I know, a project coming up, I believe it's from Highland Fairview, a humongous one. So, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Nacy Antoine, followed by Krista Hawkins.
Hi, my name is Nacy Antoine. I do live in the area, right across the street. I've been in Moreno Valley for 34 years. We welcome new sites to the area. We know things are going to go up in that place, but we don't need gas stations on every other corner. It's 2 gas stations to the right and Shell's to the left. All have car washes, all have gas. And when they say, not at this time, we know what that means. Once you guys approve it, we'll go back and apply for those licenses and we'll get them. It's a school right there. We don't need gas trucks right there coming in and out of the area. It's a deadly area over there. We hear it all night long. Yes, we do hear paramedics and ambulance and all that, but this is our home. We asking that you guys take care of our area like you would want to take care of your own. We do not welcome it. We was here, 2 years ago, fighting for the ARCO they was going to put in there. It's enough gas stations. We have so many gas stations in Moreno Valley. Like I said, within 2.5, it's 2. 1, 2, you come up the street, now they want to put one, you go down the street, it's another one. I mean, if you can't drive 2.5 miles to get gas, you shouldn't have a car. We just asking you guys to look at the residents that live in the area. We do welcome them building things, but put something in there that we need. That's what we're asking you guys to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Krista Hawkins.
Hi, my name is Krista Hawkins. This is not ageist or anything, but as you can see, I'm a little younger than everyone who has spoken. So it wasn't too long ago that I was a student at Landmark Middle School. I'm a resident of Moreno Valley. My mother has been a homeowner here for more than 20 years. She also works in law enforcement. I'm against the gas station because I don't feel that it's safe for children who attend the schools that are nearby. I don't like the representation that it sets as well. I feel as though you all, the people that serve Moreno Valley, have a responsibility to show children something more than a gas station or a warehouse. A good deed was done putting the Kaiser there, showing our future leaders that there are more opportunities to have a career and get paid a living wage within Moreno Valley, not having to commute outside of Moreno Valley to earn a living wage, but inside of the city they live in. There's already a gas station less than 5 minutes from this intended location, a Chevron on Moreno Beach. There's no need for it. With gas stations and dispensaries bombarding our neighborhoods, I'm concerned with the message that we are sending our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
No more speakers, commissioners.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to provide any additional information?
Thank you again. I made a little list while I was listening, and I'm going to just go down the list and hopefully we can shed a little more light. Let me start with the fuel station portion of this. We refer to our locations as fuel centers. In addition to the gas, we also have electric chargers. We are poised to convert these gas pumps to electric chargers when gasoline is no longer allowed in the next few years. So all the community, when they finally get to electric cars, they're going to be looking for places to charge it because all those homes were not built with electric chargers, and I don't know that they're all going to be able to install electric chargers at a quick enough pace when the time comes. So I want to make sure we understand that this is not just going to sell fuel for now. In the future, it's going to be converted to electrical and hydrogen. So I just want to emphasize that because people keep talking about the gas, but when this changes over, this is really a grocery store in the community that's going to be providing fuel for whatever type of vehicle you may drive. And that's one of the points I want to drive. As regard to security, we have 3-person crews on a 24-hour basis. One person walks around the facility to make sure we don't have homeless people setting up camps on the property. We work with the police department at that point so that if in an hour the person is still there, we tell them it's time to leave. In the next hour, if they're still there, we call the police department and we start working with them to make sure we can have these people moved off the property. That's the correct way to handle that. The homelessness is not of our making, but this is how we try to keep the property free from that condition, which is what these community members are concerned about. The noise and the light, there's a number of reports that go into creating the CEQA report for this property that looks into all of that. There's photometric reports that are done. There's sound, air, gas type of reports that are done, and those are all done to the CEQA standards. You hear all the time that California has the most stringent CEQA laws, and these projects are the most regulated of all. So we've done everything that's been asked of us by the code for CEQA, and we meet those standards. As to the location of the property, the Day Street site, if you go to the south and to the east, there's hundreds of homes in that location, right across Eucalyptus. Our Dos Lagos location is located right in the middle of probably almost 600 housing units. So we do have facilities, we are good neighbors, and again, we turn to our relationship with the city in the past 4 years. If there was a problem, the police department would have come and said something right up because we already have a location there. We keep it clean. It's got electric charging vehicles locations on it. And I don't think you've ever heard of it because of the fact it doesn't have a history of that type of activity. That takes care of security notification. We didn't have anything to do with it. I think that might address the issues that I heard. So if there's one that I haven't, I'd be more than happy to address it now.
Thank you.
As far as the alcohol, I know a lot of people were saying about the alcohol, and as Sean said, it can be conditioned of approval where there will be no alcohol at all, and even in the future, there couldn't be, where you could ask for a permit, is that right?
I think what I heard and what we feel very comfortable with is we don't have alcohol, and if we ever sold the facility and somebody else wanted to come, I think the condition that you want to put on the property is we have to come back to this body as part of that review process.
So to that, and I'll just step in at this point, condition 13 of the plot plan and condition 16 of the conditional use permit ultimately outline the project description. What staff would recommend adding to the project description would be, and the prohibition of alcohol sales when we are listing out the uses, which include an 8-island fuel station, 6 vehicle charging stations, store 7,400 square feet, drive-through car wash 1,790 square feet, including state-of-the-art security system with alarms, surveillance cameras, security lighting, and the prohibition of alcohol sales. It does carry on from there, but I just wanted to take that excerpt out to just show how it fits in context to that condition of those conditions 13 and 16.
I see. So
So basically, at this time, we would add that condition and then there wouldn't be any.
You would identify when making a action this evening, if it is for approval, and modifying the conditions as so expressed by staff this evening. Is that appropriate? Okay.
I just think that the applicant was saying that if they were to sell the station, the other people would they carry that condition with them?
The entitlements run with the land.
Okay.
So therefore, if somebody were to come in and say, I want alcohol sales, they need to come in with an amended conditional use permit, which would come before this body.
Okay, yeah, so that way at least the public knows that for right now, that would be in there. And I understand at this gas station, I know it's different from other gas stations because you do have the fueling centers, you have the capacity to change the gasoline pumps to the charging stations, and then you're selling that, is it E85 fuel?
Correct.
Yeah, because my brother has one of those cars, and I think there's only 2 stations in all Moreno Valley that carry that. And he was pretty upset about it because some of them will say they do and they don't. So I guess that's another added feature. Okay, basically, I think that was just my questions for you.
Let him know that when the time comes, they're going to get rid of that one too.
Well, he's going to 76.
my question, question is, and it was brought up, the verification of a shared access drive. Is that actually?
There is no condition of approval expressly associated with that. I have already spoken with other city staff here, and what we would suggest if there isn't a desire to modify that condition of approval, we can do so, but I would ask that ultimately the intent is to prepare a shared access driveway between this project site and the adjacent project site, and that you just allow staff to ultimately just develop that condition of approval to its completion to make sure that it meets all of our development standards, rather than take the time tonight to work through the language and get it drafted up for you.
I see what you're saying, as a condition.
So it's a condition of staff shall develop a condition for shared access.
Got it.
Or shared driveway access.
Perfect. 2 conditions.
Question I have is on this access. Is that okay with you that they do the shared access?
I'm going to reserve comment on that one, but we're going to do what we need to do to become part of this community and to participate in what's good for the community.
Okay. Conditions. All right. Well, thank you, sir.
Oh, I have a question. I got a couple of them.
Okay.
Sir, if that's okay. Okay, sir, I appreciate you coming out and investing in our community. Have you looked at some of the these emails, the ones I have here? Have you looked at in particular some of the emails, like from Mr. Ketchum and rest of the residents? Some of his concerns that seems, when I read it, seems reasonable. I was asked, what are your thoughts about what he talked about?
Mr. Terrell, thank you for asking, and I appreciate it because now this will give me the opportunity to respond to that. So thank you. I don't know if you all have the letters from Mr. Ketchum. I think you all know Mr. Ketchum. He's a known individual around these circles. Let's start with number one, right turns. This project went through all the required traffic analysis, vehicle traffic patterns. We did not set the standard, what we call a traffic impact analysis. The city staff does that. And then we put all the rest of the information together, which gets reviewed by traffic and the planning staff. So everything that you see before you with regards to this project has been approved by your staff and underlined with reports by the third-party consultants. So this issue that he's bringing up, we're not responding to it only because it came up so late, but more importantly, it's already been reviewed as part of the traffic analysis. On the landscaping, we are already working on moving forward to what we call a Xeriscape landscape plan. In working with EMWD, that's one of the requirements that they have now. So we're going to be providing our plans if we're able to move forward with your approval this evening. We would redo the landscaping to meet their Xeriscape standards for water conservation. The notification issue, that's not our regulation or our policy. That is totally run by the city and the planning department staff, so I defer to them. He asked us to go out and do more than the 600 feet. At the end of the day, I don't know how much more he would be wanting or be happy with, but the guy next to him may want another 500 feet. So this 600 foot was established by city staff as what they feel is necessary, and that's the standard we're following. The transit authority issue, again, staff and the transit authority staff worked out the location of that bus stop. And so that wasn't left to us. They told us it's going to go here. We incorporated it into the plans. The CFD issue he brings up in item number 5, again, that's already addressed in the conditions of approval, I believe, and look for correction, but we're required to be part of that already. Trash enclosures, we're building a block wall around it. We're putting a roof over it. We keep the gates locked. Again, those are standards set by the city. Those are the standards we're meeting. Car wash, sunrise to sunset, so nothing goes on when the lights are off. ADA path of travel, that is indicated on the plans. Sometimes they're hard for me to see, but they're there. And on the public comments, we did reach out, but we did not receive any responses. And so we're here without their support at this point. But I can tell you during COVID, we learned one thing. A number of our stations, wherever they were located, were always full with emergency first line personnel. And so this being next to a Kaiser, God forbid we ever run into that again, but at least they'll have a place to fuel up, get gas, charge their cars, and have some healthy food alternatives that we'll be selling there. And I think that's all the items that he had in his letter.
Okay, Mr. Chair, could I ask another question? Sir, would you be willing to donate, I don't know if there's a profit.
You can't make a request.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, requests for donations are not something that can be done as a condition or anything else. All conditions need to have what is called a nexus associated with it or a connection to the impacts of the project. So a donation does not have a nexus.
Well,
I can have our city attorney weigh in further if you'd like, but a donation would not be appropriate.
Would not be appropriate.
well, maybe I phrased it wrong. I phrased it wrong. I'm sorry for the public. I phrased it wrong. I'm kind of new at this. So what I'm asking is flock cameras. Flock cameras that it's like we got around the city right now. You see these black, they're like, they're actually automatic radar license readers, flock system.
So there are a lot. So I would prefer not to get into what the flock camera system is here in the city, just for various purposes. I would just discourage from going too much further with that discussion this evening.
Well,
without talking about our specific system, is if there's a desire that maybe they look at employing such a system, we would ultimately need to reach our police department if they would require the applicant to do some form of interconnect, and if they'd be interested in doing any form of an interconnect. And unfortunately, I couldn't answer for this evening on that matter.
Well, my only concern is for the public safety. That's my only concern, and I know it costs money to get a patrol officer, and these cameras work in protecting the public. As far as getting the bad guys, that may be going down to school, but I just leave it as that.
Let me address that, and I don't have a problem addressing that if that's okay with you. Part of our security system are going to be top of the line technology for security. We care about our employees, we care about our customers, we care about the community. This is the first time that we would enter into an agreement with the police agency to allow them to tap into those cameras when necessary. We have those agreements in other municipalities. So I have the impression that's one of our conditions, and we would be more than happy to have that conversation with the police.
Okay, I just have one more. You in your market, you're going to have healthy alternatives, right? I'm correct?
That's correct.
And so most you're going to have vegetables, and you're going to have apples and bananas, salads, or things like that.
That is correct.
And the only reason I say that because you got Kaiser behind you.
That is correct. We have those at those. If you go to any of our stores, Lagos, Rialto, that's just part of our branding. And so, yes, Arco APM has that big monster made out of Cheetos and Doritos. So we don't have those. We have fresh cut sandwiches, fresh made salads, fruits and vegetables. That's absolutely, and hand packed thrifty ice cream. I consider that to be a healthy food.
Well, I thank you for that. Like I said, my concern is about public safety. And you addressed my concerns about that. I just want the children to be safe, and I want the people in the residents to be safe. And that's my only concern. I to the public, I'm new to this, and I'm trying to formulate language. I'm learning, but I care about this community. That's all.
If this was to be approved, how soon would it be breaking ground and all that?
I'm not going to hold the building department's feet to the fire, but we would move as quickly as we can to construction. As you know, there's high interest rates right now, so when we get a construction loan, we don't have time to dilly-dally right now. So as fast as we can get it going, we would start moving forward.
I have a question. Just to clarify, did I hear the landscape plan may be changing based on the comments, or you're working towards that, or based on Mr. Ramirez's comments?
So the landscape plans are ultimately a concept at this stage. They're provided for illustration purposes. The final landscaping plans are ultimately reviewed and approved by the planning division as part of a plan check. As part of that plan check, the applicant ultimately does need to also work with the municipal water district as well, and implement their requirements and their items as well. So they end up going through a couple of different landscape reviews before they can actually start installing any plants on their site.
Thank you.
Just one real quick one. You're saying that you eventually will remove the gas station part of this or the fuel part of this. I don't know if it's a condition where if you keep this store and it goes down the road, who is financially or who is responsible for removing the old tanks?
The operator. Yes, whoever owns the station and whoever operates it. Yeah.
All right. All right, well, thank you, sir. We appreciate, oh, there we, no. All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it. And Commissioner Terrell, this is how we get old. It's the only way to go. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this, there are no more speakers for the public testimony. Then we will close the public testimony and move into deliberations. Unless we have a motion in a second.
I won't take, I promise you.
No, this is the time.
Like I said, I support the project, and it meets the traffic and safety. My concerns has been met, and like Mr. Palomar said before, it does. The future is what we're looking at, and this gas station will meet those needs, and so I'm in favor.
Jump in. You know, that Iris Street is a 3-lane highway. It's not a highway, but it's a 3-lane, one of our boulevards of the city. You know, I live off Myrtle Beach, close to Redlands and Cottonwood area, and there's only a couple options. There's a few options, gas stations, and I've noticed the significant price increase because of the lack of gas stations. So I know that we say it's a free market and competition is good. It's good for consumers. That's my thing I want. That street right there, I feel like it. The options. Also, complement development that's going to be.
Has done their home. So.
People don't even know the area. So I really am in support of this. I like the way it is. It's not like that ARCO that was before us before. So I'm for this project.
I too agree with her. There's been times where we've had to make runs to the hospital and then all of a sudden you realize you don't have any fuel. It's nicely, it's put in the right area as far as I'm concerned. I know the citizens are concerned that they don't want it in their neighborhood. When I moved here 40 some odd years ago, I used to get teased by my relatives about when you have to go to town, you got to hitch up the horse and wagon. Convenience is a good thing, but also convenience can be a bad thing. We don't need gas stations on every corner. And when you do buy a piece of property, you need to be aware what is the property around you zoned for. You can't come back in and complain about the horse getting out of the barn because you left the door open. You need to do your due diligence on this. I would not appreciate a gas station close to my house, but I also checked into that they can't build one there. But as for this project, it's a nice project, very clean project. I'm glad that we're not going to have the alcohol with all the kids running around, because even, I know you won't sell it to them, but they'll still try and help themselves to it, as I'll put it. And then the healthy foods for the kids going to school back and forth, they can always stop and get food that way. People just have to pay attention to what's around them when they do purchase a piece of property that can be what can be built around them. I think it's a good project, and everything holds up. As they say, it should go fine.
You know, one thing I'd like to say before I make the motion here is this is really a futuristic project from both from the energy standpoint and aesthetics of it. I like it a lot. I wasn't real thrilled when we put down the ARCO deal, but this is so much better project than the ARCO, but I think we need it in that area, and I'd like to make a motion to move forward with this. Oh, I'm sorry. Let the chair make, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump over you. Okay, thank you.
I've been on the commission long enough to see that last project. I remember the Oracle station. I did have some concerns, and I still have concerns. One of the things that we do have to remember that now this will be, or if we approve it, will be the closest gas station to Paris Lake, which means there will be boats and trailers pulling in there to try to fill up. The concern that I have is that turn on Iris is virtually blind. And when that light is green, they come around that corner and I can just see a boat trying to pull out and a trailer trying to pull out with that light being green as they turn around that corner, which, I mean, that's a safety concern. So that's something to consider. It will now be the closest gas station to Paris Lake. And so with that being said, once that word gets out, that's where boats are coming to try to fill up. They fill up now at the Chevron down the street because that's the closest gas station, but now they're going to come there. Other concern has always been the noise factors because in order to put gas in the gas station, a filling truck has to come in there. And they typically don't come in the middle of the day. They typically come at night. Even when those air brakes go off at the middle of the night, it's going to wake up everybody in the neighborhood to fill up those tanks. You hear those air brakes go off, and they're very loud. So that's another concern. I get that. That right is a little bit different than an ambulance coming in, but yes, that's a concern. The other concern is this. Years ago, I did work at the middle school there. And two things we would get is the kids would leave because they don't like school lunch, and they would try to access the hospital to go get lunch. They're coming. They're coming to your school. They're going to try to get lunch down there. They're going to be attracted to candy. They're going to be attracted to snacks. They're going to be attracted. And it's something that you're going to probably have to deal with, that in the middle of the day, you're going to have middle school students at your property. And that's why I asked if you reached out to the school or what we're going to do with that. The hospital would call us, and we would go down there, we'd jump in the cart and go down there and say, get back to school. But the hospital didn't have a lot of candy and snacks and stuff like that. You will. And so there are going to be a lot of kids coming down there, which is going to be a potential problem. So yeah, I do see that it is much different than the ARCO station and a lot less fueling stations than the one that we had before, but then those are still my concerns. I would never want alcohol that close to a school because they're going to get real crafty. They're going to do the smash and grabs. They're going to come in there, and that's just, they're going to come in there and steal from you to begin with. As soon as you put a Twix or hot Cheetos or whatever, they're coming to get them. And so, and they're going to leave school to do it. Because we never thought they would go to the hospital to try to get their Caesar salads and stuff like that, but they like the food there. So that's neither here nor there. That's not something that control or police, but you do have to have security and community in mind. I see it being a better project, but however, I would like to definitely see us, as far as my concerns, is to add the two conditions, the prohibiting alcohol and the staff developing shared access if a motion is made. So those are my two bits there.
What do you want to add to it? The shared driveway, okay.
Condition and style.
The alcohol.
Put that.
And the condition for.
I would ask that you please speak into the microphones and have them on if you are communicating and or deliberating, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2023-47. Do I gotta read all this one too?
I don't think so. Go down to the
And
next
then
one.
also adopt resolution number 2023-48 with the condition of approval that staff will work with the applicant to create a shared access for future development. And also with the condition that alcohol sales will be prohibited upon approval of this project.
I'll second that.
I think that works. I think that works. All right.
Give me a thumbs up.
All right. The motion does carry. Do we have a staff wrap-up?
The action of the Planning Commission is an appealable action. Anyone wishing to appeal the decision of the Planning Commission must do so by filing an appeal application with the Community Development Director and paying the applicable filing fee within 10 calendar days of this action. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item number 2. The applicant is requesting approval of a tentative tract map number 38442 and a conditional use project permit to subdivide approximately 19.1 acres into 108 single-family residential lots with associated public improvements. Do we have a staff report?
The presentation this evening will be made by Contract Planner John Moreno.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight's project that I'll be presenting to you is a conditional use permit for planned unit development and a tentative tract map for 108 single-family lots. The project is located on 19.1 acres, located on the north side of Alessandra Boulevard, east of Nason Street, and south of Bay Avenue in the downtown center zoning district. The proposed project includes 108 single-family residential lots ranging between 3,200 to 4,500 square feet within the included planned unit development. It'll offer various housing styles with the units ranging between 1,376 square feet to 2,000 square feet. The planned unit development will include a 1.38 acre community park and establish a multi-use trail. Design-wise, the homes will be in Spanish, Tuscan, and traditional styles, along with various color combinations, which are also included in the planned unit development document. The tract includes the required landscaping and the park with various amenities. A mitigation negative declaration has been prepared pursuant to CEQA. It did identify mitigation measures which have been implemented into the project. As recommendations, the staff this concludes the presentation. Staff's presentation, and we recommend that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2023-49, adopting the mitigated negative declaration, and adopt Resolution 2023-50, approving the conditional use permit to the tentative tract map. To date, we did receive one comment, which has been already provided to you earlier. So with that, staff and the applicant are available to answer any questions, any comments you may have.
Thank you. Are there any commissioner questions for staff? I'll take a quick one at it. I was looking at if you can go back to the actual artist rendition of right there. Okay. Now, you said this is just a proposed rendition? Or,
Yes.
okay. Because my concern, right, I kind of look at that and see that it looks like they're almost almost some people have a one-way in and a one-way out. In the event there may be fire at the end, say maybe at the end of that 64, is that enough room for an engine to get in and turn around and get out?
So all of the streets in this project are actually public streets, which is not something we always say to the planning commission more commonly today. And they've been designed ultimately to our traditional street standard in terms of the length of the cul-de-sac, which was reviewed by both our public works staff as well as our fire prevention staff.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at that where the 64 and 46 at the end of the street M. And if you look at the other end of that cul-de-sac, say if something happened on that end, those residents would be trapped. They wouldn't be able to drive out.
So again, it does meet all of our code maximum requirements for length. We do set maximums for the length that a cul-de-sac can be, and ultimately this does meet all of those tests, as well as with width.
I don't think I've ever seen one look like that. Okay.
I have a question. Is that's a public park, I'm assuming, right? That's open to public, or?
Yes, that will be
Like
a
a walking trail.
Yes, that will be a public park. That is at this time a conceptual design, and the reason it is a conceptual design is because ultimately the applicant will need to work with our Parks and Community Services staff on the final design with the appropriate, play equipment, and also any, how the field should be laid out and whatnot.
It's a little hard to tell, but I'm assuming all these homes do have sidewalks, right? I know there's developments that don't necessarily have sidewalks. I'm just.
These are, again, these are developed to our public street standards, which does include a sidewalk. Yes, there is street parking. And all of the driveways are at least 20, and all of the front building setbacks are 20 feet, which means that behind public right-of-way, the driveway is at least 20 feet as well in length. And a traditional parking stall here in the city is 19 feet. So it's a foot longer than a traditional parking stall.
And how big are these lots averaging? And it went pretty fast. I didn't.
The range between 3,200 to 4,500 square feet.
Are these similar? And again, I know it's another project, but are these similar from the ones across Target?
These would actually be closer to the Aquabella project that was approved by the commission. Or I'm sorry, Aquabella.
The one down the street?
Yeah, the project the project just to the east, across from the church. It's also a Bella, and I can't remember. We've got a lot of Bellas here in Moreno Valley, so I apologize. We had somebody bring up Aquabella a little bit earlier, so apologize for that. Be similar to that, or even the project over off of Iris, right across from the new Aldi, which opened today.
No, you might not remember, but Honey Hollow comes to mind for me. It's, their lots are like 4,500. They're smaller lots, but it's an old project. Is it similar to those?
It's similar to those, yes.
Similar to those. Well, I've been here for 40 years.
Me too.
Okay.
Am I seeing that right? That all those exercise types equipment would be set up in this park?
That exercise equipment is one of the items that they will be offering, and again, what those pieces of what those exercise equipment pieces will ultimately be determined through coordination with PCS.
Cool.
Any other questions for staff? No? All right, would the applicant like to speak?
Good evening, Commission.
My name is Rashi Yamaguchi. I am the Director of Community Development with High Point Communities. I have with me our consultant team and am here to not make a presentation, but to answer any and all questions that you may have for this project moving forward. We've worked extremely hard with planning staff to get it to this point today, and look forward to answering any questions.
Well, thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Just real quick, are these homes going to be equipped with, or at least not equipped, but set up to have car chargers?
So it, and this,
Then you won't have a car charger, but will the house be wired so it could be done?
I could be wrong, but I believe there is capability, there will be capability for a future car charger. So that there's not going to be a designated service, I don't believe, but I believe that the capability for a future car charger should be available.
Okay, and when you mean capability, you mean just,
Like for service, right? So
yeah, is the service going to be large enough in this house that you can add it without having
I
to?
believe it should.
That way you don't have to enlarge your service to be able to put a car charger, because that's what we're going to. If it's going to be something new, then that's what we need to do. I feel that we need to do, let's word that correctly. Just something that would be consideration. And then are these going to be all electric homes with solar or not?
So at this point, it hasn't been determined that they'll be all electric. But our builder, who's our partner in this project, they'll determine if they'll be all electric. If the city were to mandate, or that citywide, that and follow regulations, I'm sure we'd follow that.
Thank you.
Now, there are 2 car garages, right?
Yes.
They'll be able to accommodate.
Any other questions for the applicant? All right, well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, at this time, we'll open the public testimony. The clerk will call upon each person who has requested to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on the public hearing item. Do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
Let me wrap my head around that. Well, if there's no public comments and anything said, we always give the applicant an opportunity to add additional information if you would like, sir. No? All right, thank you. All right, no more speakers, no more additional information. So we're going to close the public testimony portion and move into deliberations.
I just want to make some comments on this project. I think it's it kind of transitions into the downtown center with these types of lots. They're smaller, but they serve definitely a need. We're with rising cost of everything. We a little bit more dense developments in certain areas, and this definitely meets that need. We'll provide more affordable housing opportunities for a lot of our millennials and people who need to purchase a home. So it's definitely an opportunity. It's definitely going to create, like every projects that we approve here, it's going to create jobs, some residential construction jobs, and it's good stuff. So those are my comments.
I think it's a good project. I really like the idea with 2 different parks in there and fixing that up. We're doing more of that all the time in these new infield tracks that we're doing. We didn't do that like 10 years ago, but I think it's fantastic. It's a good project. Thank you.
I was actually concerned because of the density that there wasn't going to be enough parking, but with the on-site parking there on the street, and then they do have the driveways. And as my colleague mentioned, we do need housing, and these are just, being in that area, it's going to be a good fit. So my only concern was actually the parking, so now I don't have any concerns. So I really like the project.
You know, the more I see these projects in the downtown area, the more it shows that we're attracting more business, more developers in the area, and hopefully we'll get that downtown center built soon. You know, with all the density built, I think it's hopefully soon to come, and the Lewis Group will fulfill their promise. Hopefully. I like this project. I think it looks good. It would also, you know, that elementary school right up above, you don't see it, but it's a brand new elementary school. Bay Street actually is a dead end now. It'll actually help alleviate some of the congestion from parents coming in and out during drop-off. I know there's a drop-off in the front, but back there, that is gonna, them adding that street there, it's a brand new street, I'm assuming, right? That there's, maybe it's a dirt road now, but it's not a street there now. So it's gonna, I think it's a great addition. I think it's a good look. It's really gonna start to reshape the downtown area. That's just the start of many more, I think.
I have one question. Is that Street A, there's not going to be it's going to be a turning as far as between Nason and...
My overall take with it is a good project. I just have concerns with the natural gas aspect that we all know that is now been proven harmful to the children, and since the decision has not been made on whether to use it or not. Personally, I would like to see it be an all-electric house to get away from the fossil fuels and to get away from the problems that have come up with using natural gas in a home. But other than that, I think it's a good project. I think we should also look into making sure that these houses will be for the future with our electric chargers and things of that nature. But like you said, that's something you got to decide on later. But other than that, I like the project.
Yeah, I think I already expressed just that one street M there. I just see that you know, at the very end, fire happens at that end, fire truck comes down at the end, those people can't get out. They're stuck until whatever issue happens and gets alleviated and finished. Everybody else can get out more than one way, right? They're just, and I get that. That's how it is on coast, but they're usually not that deep. I don't remember ever seeing one that deep where it looks like there's about 12 homes there. I live in a community where I see maybe 4 homes in the cul-de-sac, maybe 5. Right. Yeah. No, I mean if they had to get their cars out, if they had to drive away, if they had to get to work or whatever.
There's a fire, you're not even worried.
You're gonna hoof it, huh? So, that's right. Save yourselves.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I would have thought that maybe that back street would have went through, all the way through in the back, and then people can have both ways. So, but other than that, it looks great. Again, I'm with my colleague down there. You know, we got some mandates. They're saying that electric cars, gasoline cars, no more sales by what, 2035, something like that. We're moving up to that, and we're not, we got to keep up with that. So I could see them putting 240, I think it's either a 220 or 240 in the garage so that they have the opportunity to be able to charge. They're going to have to upgrade their services, you know, can't charge on a 110, you know. I'm speaking from experience. Other than that, it looks great.
Okay.
I think he has comments.
Yeah, I just want to say that this project, I support the project. It represents the American dream that so many people that come to our community want to have a chance to have ownership. It provides the flexible development standards, which to me will give the development community, especially the housing development community, more options to create market rate housing for people who want to own a home in the community parks and the multi-trail. That's awesome. Again, I say it represents what a sense of community is all about. People coming together, sharing the parks, using the trails, getting to know your neighbor. And this is the future, and it meets the needs of the new downtown when it eventually comes. It will support it. So I support it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2023-49 and also resolution number 2023-50.
I'll second. All right, we have a motion and a second. All right, the motion does carry. Do we have a staff wrap-up, please?
The action of the Planning Commission is an appealable action. Anyone wishing to appeal the decision of the commission must do so by filing an appeal application with the Community Development Director and paying the applicable filing fee within 10 calendar days of the decision. Thank you.
All right, it's been a while since we've had the jog this long, and the oxygen tank is getting a little low here, so I'd like to take a 5-minute recess.
Oh, wow.
So that we can stretch our legs there, use the restrooms, and then we'll reconvene in 5 minutes. All right, so I'd like to reconvene the Planning Commission meeting for November 9th at 7:50 PM, which takes us straight to item number 3, a proposed municipal code amendment to various provisions within the Title IX Planning and Zoning. And that takes us to, we have a staff report.
The presentation this evening will be made by Associate Planner Danielle Harper-Scott.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the Commission. Danielle Harper-Scott, Associate Planner. The item before you this evening are the proposed municipal code amendments to amend various sections of Title IX of the Moreno Valley Municipal Code. These amendments are intended to address requirements of recent laws that have been adopted by the state of California and required by HCD, implement general plan goals and policies, and to provide updates and text cleanups. The code amendments will amend various sections within Title IX as follows. Amend the permitted use table to add truck charging facilities. Section 9.03.040 residential site development standards will be amended to remove duplicate information. Section 9.03.055 density bonus programs for green building and energy efficiency will be amended to extend density bonus incentives to new multifamily developments within specified districts. Section 9.03.070 and 080 will be added to establish a streamlined ministerial review and public oversight process for SB 35 and SB 330 applications. Section 9.05.040 industrial site development standards will be amended to provide additional site development requirements, including installing directional signage, solar-ready roofs, electrical room sizing, and the installation of future truck charging facilities. Section 9.14.100 land divisions, dedications, improvements, fees, and reservations will be amended to revise language to require subdivision street improvements to be constructed to full width. Section 9.16.170 applications for hillside development permits will be amended to add language to require adherence to the hillside development guidelines during the planning application review process. The proposed amendments are exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act in accordance with Section 15061B3. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve Resolution Number 2023-46 and thereby recommend that the City Council find the amendments exempt from CEQA and approve the municipal code amendments. This concludes staff's presentation. I am available for questions.
Thank you. Are there any commissioner questions for staff? All right, not everybody at the same time. Okay, all right. At this time, if there's no commissioner questions, we'll open up the public testimony. The clerk will call upon each person who has requested to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on the public hearing item. Do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
All right. No speakers, no public comments, then we'll close the public testimony and move into deliberations unless we have a motion and a second. Okay.
Unless somebody's got a deliberation, no? Okay, that's, we approve Resolution 2023-46 and thereby recommend to the City Council to find the amendments exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, and then also approve the Municipal Code Title IX Amendments, PEN 23-0125, based on our findings contained, set forth and referenced in resolution, and introduce and adopt an ordinance to effectuate the amendments included in this resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. The motion does carry. Is there a staff wrap-up?
The recommendation of the commission will be presented to the city council at a future meeting. Thank you.
All right, the next on the agenda is other commissioner business. At this time, we have no items. The next item on the agenda is staff comments. Do we have any staff comments?
Got a couple this evening, actually. So first off, I just want to note that staff did take notes on Mr. Benuelos's comments today during the public comment section, and we will be following up on that concern and looking into it. Also, I was able to mention it to a couple of you during previously, but we will be having a Planning Commissioners Academy coming up that is hosted annually. That is available to all of our planning commissioners. This year it will be Monday, March 4th through Wednesday, March 6th, 2024. It is at the Hilton in Long Beach. If you are interested in attending, please let Rachel or Patty know so that we can get you signed up. Our desire would be to sign you up early so that we can actually have it so that you don't have to stay at a local hotel, but you can actually stay on site if possible. So if you want to let us know tonight after the meeting, that'd be great. And again, it's March 4th through 6th, 2024. It's a Monday through Wednesday this year in Long Beach. And then the last thing, I just want to say a thank you to all of our veterans and a happy Veterans Day this Saturday. That's all I have. Steve, anything?
Not today.
No? Okay. All right. No other staff comments? Next item on the agenda is commissioner comments. Do we have any commissioner comments?
I have a comment. Will you be joining us, Sean, at the academy?
My hope will be that by the time March 4th through 6th comes around, I will have a planning official to send to the academy. I may attempt to stop on by maybe for a dinner or something along those lines while you're out there, though. And I being that we do have a new principal planner, I don't know if anybody noticed that, and I apologize, I should have mentioned that. Julia is now our principal planner, just moving her way up.
Congratulations.
Pretty confident that she'll be attending this year as well.
Congratulations. Uh-oh, does that mean she has to drink her tea with their fancy smancy? I have a comment. Okay, so I think this is a great idea that the staff has now passed this out to all the planning commissioners. One of the things that I would like to encourage every commissioner to do is kind of follow along with this so that we know exactly what position or where we are on the agenda, if we're in staff comments or if we're in commissioner questions for staff or questions for the applicant, so that we all stay on the same page at the same time. So that's why they're handing it to you, so you guys can follow along, so we know exactly where we are at all times.
This is the teacher coming out in him.
Well, this isn't indented here. No. All right, the next item on the agenda is, that's it, we're done. All right, so we're gonna adjourn the planning commission until our next regular meeting. Oh, wait a second, that says November 23rd. That can't be correct.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That is actually, that is correct. We are adjourning to November 23rd. Being that it falls on the Thanksgiving holiday, it would actually roll over to November 24th. Being that that is a city-recognized holiday, it would actually end up rolling over to Monday, November 27th, for a hearing date. We'll confirm with staff if there are going to be any items necessary for that meeting. And if there are any items, then that would ultimately be where we would end up with a planning commission meeting, would be on the 27th, if I'm doing that, my math right.
On a Monday?
Yeah, on that Monday. So we'll be discussing among staff if there are any items. If not, then Ultimately, staff will put out a notice of cancellation for the meeting, like we traditionally do if there are no items.
All right. With that said, we'll adjourn the planning commission for for November 9th until the next regularly scheduled meeting, whenever that might be.